Isaiah 45:2. God will go before you and make the crooked path straight. There are moments in life when the road ahead feels impossible to walk. Not because you lack faith, not because you're weak, but because the path has become twisted, unpredictable, filled with turns you never saw coming. You look at the next step, and instead of clarity, you see fog. You try to move forward, but something pushes you back. You pray for direction, but life answers with silence. And in that silence, the mind begins to whisper, maybe you're walking the wrong way, maybe you should give up, maybe God isn't going with you this time. But there's a truth you haven't heard yet, a truth that heaven has been trying to reveal beneath every setback, every delay, every locked door. Listen, what if the crooked places you see are not signs of defeat, but signs that God is about to step in? What if the difficulty you're facing is actually the preparation for a supernatural intervention? What if the curves in your path were never meant to destroy you, but to align you with something greater than anything you planned? Right now, God is whispering into your spirit, I will go before you. I will make the crooked path straight. This is not a poetic phrase. It is not a comforting idea. It is a prophetic guarantee, a declaration from the God who shapes nations, the God who opens seas, the God who speaks and mountains bow down. Think about this. Every path that feels twisted to you is perfectly clear to him. Every obstacle that intimidates you has already been measured, weighed, and defeated in his plan. Every delay that frustrates you is actually aligning your life with the exact moment where breakthrough becomes inevitable. You're not lost. You're not late. You're not behind. You are in the exact position where God can reveal his power in a way that no human effort could ever produce. Maybe you've been fighting battles that were never meant to be fought by your hands. Maybe you've been trying to force open doors that God himself has reserved for his timing. Maybe you've been walking with fear because you forgot one simple truth. Where God goes before you, nothing can stand against you. Imagine the scene. The road ahead is broken, but suddenly the ground begins to shift. Rocks move, valleys rise, mountains flatten. The darkness fades like fog under the morning sun, and the path that once terrified you becomes a straight way, illuminated, firm, unshakable. Not because you changed it, but because God stepped into it before you arrived. He goes before you into conversations you fear. He goes before you into opportunities you can't see yet. He goes before you into the future you keep worrying about. He steps into the places where your strength ends, and he builds roads where there were none. Yes, the path looks crooked now. Yes, you feel tired, uncertain, overwhelmed, but God is already ahead of you at working in the unseen, shifting what needs to move, silencing what needs to fall, opening what needs to unlock, preparing what needs to rise. And soon, you will look back and realize something powerful. The path wasn't crooked at all. It was divine alignment disguised as difficulty. It was purpose disguised as pressure. It was God rearranging the ground beneath your feet so that when you stepped forward, you would walk not in fear but in victory. Stay here, stay listening, because what God is about to reveal will change how you see every step ahead. You've been walking through days where the weight feels heavier than usual, not because you're weaker, but because something spiritual has been shifting around you. There are battles you don't see, conversations happening in the unseen realm, movements in the atmosphere that your spirit can sense even when your mind can't understand them. And every time you try to take a step forward, something inside you whispers, "Be careful. You've been here before. Don't get hurt again." You feel the tension between believing God's promise and remembering yesterday's pain. It's like standing between two worlds, one pulling you back to what went wrong, and the other pulling you forward to what God is preparing. This is where Isaiah 45:2 becomes more than a verse. It becomes a lifeline, a declaration that God is not sending you into the unknown alone. He is entering it first. He is not asking you to trust blindly. He is giving you His presence as evidence. He is not waiting for you on the other side. He is clearing the way right now. But let me tell you something most people never understand. When God decides to make a crooked path straight, He doesn't start by changing the road. He starts by changing you. He begins with the heart, because a straight path means nothing if your spirit is still tangled in fear. He begins with your vision, because walking in victory requires seeing beyond what's visible. He begins with your mind, because the greatest battles happen before a single step is taken. Think about the last few weeks, the moments you felt confused, restless, or strangely emotional. Those weren't random. Those were signs of God stretching your spirit, preparing you for a season where easy paths aren't enough, where you need straight ones. A straight path is not merely simple, it is purposeful. It takes you directly to what God has written for you, without detours, without delays, without the traps the enemy tried to set along the way. And sometimes, before God straightens the path around you, He straightens the path inside you. That is why some relationships had to end. That is why certain doors closed before you could enter. That is why some opportunities disappeared right when you thought they were guaranteed. You saw loss, but heaven saw protection. You saw rejection, but heaven saw redirection. You saw delay, but heaven saw alignment. God is not late. He is not forgetting you. He is not silent because He abandoned you. He is silent because He is working in ways too precise to be interrupted. Every time you prayed and nothing seemed to happen, something did happen, just not in a place your eyes could see yet. And maybe you haven't noticed it, but there's a shift happening inside you. You're stronger than before. You're more aware. You're beginning to discern what is from God and what only looks like it is. You're beginning to sense the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Your spirit is waking up. Your discernment is sharpening. Your faith is maturing. This is not coincidence. This is preparation. Because when God goes before you, the path ahead becomes a battlefield already conquered. He tears down walls you didn't even know were blocking you. He exposes the lies that were directing your steps. He removes the people who were walking with you but not walking for you. He dismantles schemes the enemy built months ago. And while you worry about what's in front of you, God is already confronting what was trying to stop you. Listen to this. There is a version of your future where everything makes sense, where the pain of this season becomes the proof of why you had to keep going, where you see clearly the places God carried you when you thought you were walking alone, where you realize that every twisted turn, every confusing moment, every unexpected delay was part of the straight path being formed beneath your feet. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to fight everything by yourself. You don't have to force your way through life. All you need to do is walk. Because your steps are no longer entering the unknown. They are entering the place where God has already gone ahead of you. And what He prepares, no one can undo. Stay with me. Because what comes next will open your eyes even more. There comes a moment in every journey when your heart whispers a question you're almost afraid to ask. If God is going before me, why does the path still look broken? You look at your life and see unfinished battles, unanswered prayers, pieces that don't seem to fit yet. You see obstacles that stand in the exact place where you hoped for breakthrough. And deep inside you wonder if you're missing something, if you're walking wrong, if maybe you misheard God. But hear this with your spirit. The path looks crooked to you because you're seeing it too early. You're looking at a road still under construction, a promise still being shaped, a future still being carved by divine hands. God doesn't reveal the finished road before time, because if He did, you would run ahead of His timing, trying to reach what your character is not yet ready to carry. So instead, He invites you to trust the sound of His footsteps going before you, even when your eyes see nothing but fog. Think about a craftsman working on a piece of raw wood. At first, the cuts look harsh, the edges look uneven, the shape makes no sense. But the craftsman is not confused. He sees the final form before the first cut is even made. That's how God works with your path. What looks crooked to you is perfectly measured in His design. And here is the part most people never understand. Sometimes God will allow the path to feel crooked so you will slow down and listen. If the road were smooth, you would run past Him. If everything opened easily, you would stop depending on His voice. If every step felt safe, you wouldn't need His presence. So He uses the uncomfortable places to anchor your heart to Him. Some of the crooked moments in your life were not mistakes. They were divine speed bumps. They forced you to turn your face toward God again. They slowed you down so you wouldn't walk into something that looked right, but wasn't meant for you. They made you ask deeper questions, pray deeper prayers, trust with deeper faith, because God doesn't straighten the path around you until He has strengthened the path within you. And while you've been worrying about what's ahead, Heaven has been working behind the scenes in ways so precise, so intentional, so supernatural, that you will one day look back and say, if even one thing had been different, I wouldn't be standing here today. You think the delay is random? It's not. You think the closed door was failure? It wasn't. You think the people who walked away were loss? They weren't. They were protection, they were redirection. They were the exact moments required for the straight path to be prepared for you. Look closely. There have been tiny signs along the way that God was going before you. A conversation that came at the right moment. A no that hurt but saved you. A pause that made you reflect. A feeling in your spirit that told you not to move yet. A door that opened exactly when you were about to give up. These are not coincidences. They are footprints. Evidence of a God who walks ahead of you with strategy, wisdom, and timing that no human hand could orchestrate. And here's the truth. The reason the enemy has fought you so intensely is because he knows something you don't. Your path is about to straighten. Your steps are about to align with something heaven has been preparing for a long time. Your season of confusion is about to turn into clarity. Your obstacles are about to become testimonies. Your tears are about to become seeds that produce a harvest of peace. When God says, I will go before you, He is not referring to a nice idea. He is declaring warfare on everything that tried to block you. He is stepping into the future ahead of you and removing what was meant to destroy you. He is bending what was crooked, eliminating what was dangerous, exposing what was hidden. And soon, you will step into a moment where everything aligns so perfectly, so effortlessly, so undeniably that you will know, God was here before I arrived. You don't have to see the full path yet. You just have to keep walking with the one who shapes it. There is a moment in every spiritual journey when the atmosphere around you begins to shift, quietly, almost imperceptibly. And yet something inside you knows that nothing is the same anymore. You wake up sensing that the season you've been walking through is reaching a turning point. You feel it in the tension, in the silence, in the strange mixture of fear and anticipation that rests inside your chest. It's as if heaven has begun rearranging things, not loudly, not suddenly, but intentionally, piece by piece. This is the exact moment when Isaiah 45:2 becomes alive. I will go before you and make the crooked path straight. Not I might go, not I hope to go, but I will. A divine certainty to confront your earthly uncertainty, a heavenly declaration standing firm against everything that has tried to confuse you. But here's the truth no one is prepared for. Before God straightens the path around you, He often disrupts the path beneath you. Not to weaken you, but to reposition you, not to frighten you, but to wake you up, not to make you retreat, but to make you aware of where He is leading you. Some disruptions are divine strategies in disguise. The job that became unbearable, the relationship that lost its peace, the plans that suddenly collapsed, the dreams that didn't unfold the way you expected. These weren't failures. They were signals, indicators that God was moving ahead of you, removing what would distort the road He is preparing. For years you thought the path was crooked because life was unfair, because people disappointed you, because obstacles kept rising out of nowhere. But now looking back, you can see that every unexpected turn had a purpose. Every delay kept you from stepping into something that wasn't aligned with God's timing. Every closed door preserved you from something your heart was not ready to handle. The crooked path wasn't a punishment, it was a process that taught you resilience, a process that taught you discernment, a process that taught you how to recognize God's voice in storms and in stillness, a process that shaped your spirit to handle the blessing you once prayed for too early. And now, something sacred is happening. God is stepping into your tomorrow before you even arrive. He is clearing conversations you're afraid to have. He is softening hearts you thought were closed. He is aligning situations that once seemed impossible. He is preparing opportunities that feel too big for you now, but will soon feel like the natural next step. Because when God goes before you, He doesn't just straighten the path, He straightens the timing. He straightens the connections. He straightens the purpose inside you. Maybe you didn't notice it yet, but the weight you've been carrying is beginning to shift. You've been feeling an internal release, a quiet strength rising where fear used to be. Moments that once triggered anxiety now feel strangely manageable. Situations that used to shake you no longer break you. Your spirit is stabilizing because the path ahead is stabilizing. This is what it feels like when God makes the crooked places straight, not instantly, but intentionally, not dramatically, but constantly, not with noise, but with precision. Imagine this scene. Ahead of you is a road full of uneven rocks, sharp turns, and dark corners. But as God steps onto it, the stones move aside. The curves stretch into clarity. The shadows lift. And what once frightened you becomes a clear, illuminated way. A path you can walk without fear, without hesitation, without second-guessing every step. That's what's happening right now, even if your eyes can't see it yet. God is not preparing a path for who you were. He is preparing a path for who you are becoming. And soon, you will feel the shift completely. You will walk differently. You will breathe differently. You will decide differently. Because the one who goes before you has already transformed the road you're about to walk. Stay with me. There is more unfolding, and the next part will take you even deeper into the revelation of what God is doing around you. There is a point in every believer's journey where the pressure becomes so intense and the uncertainty so loud, the path so unclear, that you begin to wonder if you're still moving in the direction God intended for you. You feel the weight of decisions, the echoes of past mistakes, the fear of stepping into something unknown, and silently, without telling anyone, you ask yourself, what if I take the wrong step? What if the next turn breaks me instead of blessing me? But what you don't see is that God has already walked ahead of you, placing His footprints on the very ground you fear. Listen closely. When God declares, "I will go before you," He is revealing something profoundly intimate about your journey. He is not just opening doors, He is inspecting the road. He is not just providing favor, He is removing danger. He is not just preparing opportunities, He is eliminating traps the enemy designed long before you arrived at this moment. You're not just walking into a future, you're walking into a future God has already stepped into. And that changes everything, because the battle you fear has already been fought. The mountain you dread has already been measured. The situation that intimidates you has already been overturned in the spiritual realm. God doesn't straighten your path by rearranging the world first. He straightens it by conquering everything that threatens your journey. Think about this. There are things that should have destroyed you, but didn't. Doors you thought were closed forever, that suddenly opened. people who tried to break you, who ended up revealing their true intentions before they could harm you. Moments that felt like endings, that later became beginnings. That is the evidence of a God who goes before you. But here is the part that your heart needs to hear today. When God prepares a straight path, He removes what you didn't even know was standing in your way. You prayed for clarity. He removed confusion. You prayed for peace. He dismantled spiritual storms you didn't even see. You prayed for direction. He took away options that were not aligned with your destiny. You prayed for strength. He closed cycles that drained you without your awareness. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually God cleaning the road. Sometimes what feels like silence is actually God working in precision. Sometimes what feels like delay is God removing what would have slowed you down later. And deep inside, you know it. You've been sensing the atmosphere shifting. You've been feeling a strange calm in places where you used to panic. You've noticed that certain things that once disturbed you no longer have the same power. Your spirit is stabilizing because your path is being straightened. Every time you take a step now, heaven is adjusting the ground beneath you. Every time you pray, God is leveling the unseen. Every time you trust, He is smoothing what once caused you to stumble. Picture this: the crooked road ahead, twisting, confusing, overwhelming, suddenly becomes a clear, straight line. Not because life became easier, not because situations magically disappeared, but because God touched the path. He touches what you cannot reach. He moves what you cannot move. He fixes what you cannot fix. He prepares what you are not yet ready to see. And soon, you will step into a moment where you will look around and realize, God has been here. God has prepared this. God has gone before me. You're not walking blindly. You're walking behind the one who sees the end from the beginning. And nothing can stop what He has already straightened. Stay with me. The next revelation goes even deeper. There comes a time when your spirit begins to sense a shift, long before your eyes can see it. It's subtle at first, a soft pull, a quiet knowing, a whisper that tells you something is changing around you. Not because the circumstances have improved, not because the road suddenly looks easier, but because God is moving in places you cannot yet reach. And even though nothing looks different on the outside, something feels different on the inside. This is the evidence that God has stepped ahead of you. You begin to notice that the fears that once controlled you are losing their grip. The anxiety that used to dominate your thoughts is fading. The battles that once felt impossible no longer feel as heavy. It's not that life became lighter. It's that God is carrying what you used to carry alone. What you are experiencing is the atmosphere of a path being straightened. But here's a truth that few people understand. When God goes before you, the first place He works is in the realm you cannot see. He doesn't start with the visible. He starts with the invisible. He shifts things in the spiritual long before they manifest in the natural. He aligns conversations you haven't had yet. He positions people you haven't met yet. He prepares opportunities you don't even know you need yet. And while you're wondering why things seem quiet, why prayers feel delayed, why certain areas of your life seem frozen, God is actually straightening the very ground of your future. Sometimes God's greatest works are done in silence. Think about how a seed grows and hidden beneath the soil in darkness, in stillness, without applause or attention. But just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean the growth isn't happening. In fact, the most important part of the process is the part no one sees. That's your season right now. God is not ignoring you. He is fortifying you. He is not delaying you. He is aligning you. He is not silent because He is absent. He is silent because He is constructing something too sacred to reveal prematurely. And here's the part your heart needs to understand. God is not only straightening the path, He is straightening your steps. He is removing hesitations you didn't realize were holding you back. He is healing wounds that distorted your direction. He is breaking patterns that would have sabotaged your future. He is strengthening your posture so you can walk with confidence where you once walked in fear. This is why certain things suddenly lost their appeal. This is why some connections faded without drama. This is why you no longer feel the same about situations you once tolerated. It's not random, it's alignment. You are being positioned for a path designed for the version of you that God sees, not the version you used to be. Now imagine this scene. God steps ahead of you into a place you have not reached. He sees the crooked turns, he sees the hidden traps, he sees the broken bridges. And with a single movement of his hand, he begins to straighten what would have confused you, delayed you, or destroyed you. He removes the danger you didn't know existed. He shuts the door you would have walked through too quickly. He eliminates the distraction that would have pulled you away. He levels the terrain so that when you arrive, you walk in stability instead of fear. This is what "I will go before you" truly means. It means the miracle is already in motion. It means the answer is already prepared. It means the breakthrough is already built into your next steps. You won't have to fight for the path. You will only have to walk it. And soon, you will enter a moment where everything aligns, perfectly, beautifully, undeniably. And you will look around and say, "God did this before I even arrived. Stay with me." The next part will take you even deeper into the unfolding revelation. There are seasons when you look at your life and realize something profound. You've survived things that should have broken you. You've walked through nights that felt endless. You've carried burdens that were far heavier than your strength. And yet somehow you're still standing, not by accident, not by chance, but because someone greater than you has been clearing the road beneath your feet long before you ever stepped onto it. This is the unseen reality of Isaiah 45:2. God doesn't just walk ahead of you. He contends ahead of you. He negotiates things you don't know about. He blocks what you were never meant to see. He removes danger before danger reaches your doorway. He intercepts the attacks you didn't even know were coming. And while you stand wondering why your path looks quiet, why your progress feels slow, why certain things aren't moving yet, God is actually securing your future with a precision that human eyes are too limited to understand. Here's a truth your spirit is ready to hear. Some of the battles you thought were yours were actually victories God fought before you even prayed. Think about that for a moment. The moment you feared would destroy you, God dismantled it. The plan the enemy crafted to derail you, God intercepted it. The situation designed to leave you broken, God blocked it. You didn't avoid disaster because you were wise, or fast, or strong, but because God stepped into the moment before you ever arrived. This is what it means for Him to make the crooked path straight. Sometimes the path becomes straight because God removes the curve. Other times it becomes straight because God removes you from the place where the curve would have harmed you. And sometimes the path becomes straight simply because God changes the condition of your heart so that the path no longer intimidates you. And you've felt this happening inside you. You've noticed the strength rising quietly. You've noticed the clarity forming slowly. You've noticed you're not as easily shaken as before. That's not coincidence, that's divine adjustment. Your spirit is aligning with the path God has prepared. But here's something deeper. God does not straighten your path only for your benefit. He does it for your purpose. There are people you are meant to touch, situations you are meant to influence, battles you are meant to win, territories you are meant to walk into. And for that purpose to unfold, the path must be shaped by His hands, not yours. That's why it couldn't happen sooner. That's why some seasons had to stretch you. That's why He closed doors you prayed to enter. A crooked heart cannot walk a straight path. A fearful spirit cannot carry a bold assignment. A wounded soul cannot discern the turns of destiny. So God healed you quietly, strengthened you slowly, it matured you deeply. So when he straightens the path, you can walk it with confidence instead of fear. Imagine this: God standing at the entrance of your tomorrow, looking at every obstacle, every attack, every twist designed to stop you, and commanding them to move. Not politely, not gently, but with the authority of heaven. Rocks shift, valleys rise, mountains flatten, dark corners are filled with light. And the path begins to transform under the weight of his presence. When you finally step into that place, you won't feel lost. You won't feel confused. You won't feel like you're fighting alone. You will feel alignment, a sense of divine orchestration that makes everything inside you whisper, "This is where I was meant to be." And when that moment comes, and it will come, you will know that God did not just straighten the path. He prepared you to walk it. Stay with me. The next topic will take this revelation even deeper. There are moments in your journey when God begins to reveal something subtle but incredibly powerful. You were never meant to walk through this season relying only on your own understanding. Your strength was never meant to carry the full weight of the road. Your mind was never meant to unravel the mystery of every step ahead, because the path you're walking is not merely a route, it is a divine assignment. And assignments from heaven require the presence of the one who goes before you. When God declares, "I will go before you," he is not only making a promise, he is revealing a strategy, a supernatural pattern that has repeated throughout Scripture, throughout history, and throughout your own life. Before God moves his people into a new season, he always moves ahead of them first. He went before Israel as a pillar of fire. He went before David into battle. He went before Esther into the king's court. He went before Joseph into the palace. He went before you into places you have not yet entered, smoothing the way, silencing the enemy, and preparing everything you're about to step into. And this is why the enemy has tried to attack your mind so fiercely. Because once you understand that God has already walked into your future, fear loses its power. Doubt loses its voice. Anxiety loses its influence. Uncertainty loses its authority. Think about this. You've been worrying about moments God has already arranged. You've been losing sleep over outcomes God has already secured. You've been afraid of battles God has already won. There is nothing ahead of you that God has not already stood in front of. But here's where the revelation deepens. The path becomes straight the moment you stop trying to control what belongs to God. Control is the weight that makes the road feel crooked. Fear is the voice that makes the path feel uncertain. Overthinking is the fog that makes the journey feel impossible. But the moment you release what is not yours to carry, the path begins to shift beneath you. Some of the crooked places in your life were not external. They were internal. A wounded place that distorted your perspective, a memory that made you question your worth, a scar that convinced you weren't ready, a fear that kept whispering worst-case scenarios into your spirit. So God has been healing you, one layer at a time. You didn't always notice it, but he was doing it. He healed the part of you that didn't trust. He healed the part of you that felt abandoned. He healed the part of you that was afraid to hope again. Because a healed heart walks differently, it walks straighter. And now something sacred is happening inside you. You're not panicking the way you used to. You're not doubting every step you take. You're not questioning whether God is with you. Deep in your spirit, a quiet confidence is rising, the kind that only comes when God himself has touched your path. Imagine walking toward your future, and every time your foot hovers over a place that once would have tripped you, the ground shifts, straightens, aligns, not by your power but by God's movement, not by your planning, but by his orchestration. This is what it means to walk behind a God who goes before you. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to chase anything. You don't have to fear anything. Your only assignment is to walk, and he will adjust the path under your steps. And soon, you will reach a moment where clarity replaces confusion, where peace replaces fear, where alignment replaces chaos. And you will say with tears in your eyes, God was here before I arrived. The revelation is deepening. When you're ready, the next part will take the message to another level. There comes a moment when God begins to reveal why the journey had to unfold the way it did, why certain paths twisted, why certain seasons stretched you, why certain prayers seemed unanswered, why certain doors opened only after others closed. Not to confuse you, but to form you. Not to delay you, but to align you. Not to weaken you, but to prepare you for a path that was never meant to be walked in your old strength. This is where Isaiah 45:2 becomes more than a promise. It becomes a revelation. God did not simply go before you to remove obstacles. He went before you to shape outcomes, to rearrange timelines, to redirect influences, to silence enemies, to position favor in places you haven't entered yet. And while you were questioning the journey, God was designing the destination. This is why some of the hardest moments of your life came without warning. The sudden ending, the unexpected detour, the painful goodbye, the disappointment that took your breath away. These weren't random. They were divine realignments, because sometimes the path cannot become straight until God removes what was bending it, a person whose intentions were wrong, an environment that was choking your growth, a dream that looked holy but wasn't part of your calling, a plan that fed your pride but starved your purpose, a version of you that couldn't carry the weight of your destiny. So God stepped into the very places you couldn't see and began clearing, cutting, shaping, lifting, removing, until the road before you matched the future He designed for you. And though you didn't understand it then, something inside you is beginning to understand it now. Because the more God works ahead of you, the more your spirit becomes aware of His footprints. You start to feel the atmosphere shift in conversations you haven't had yet. You sense a new peace settling over decisions that used to terrify you. You notice strength rising in areas where you once felt fragile. This is the evidence that the crooked places are being straightened. Listen, the enemy wanted you to believe the path was too broken to lead anywhere. He wanted you to think the twists meant God had abandoned you. He wanted you to see delays as denials, obstacles as punishments, silence as rejection. But God was speaking all along, just not in the way you expected. He speaks through blocked roads just as clearly as He speaks through open doors. He speaks through endings just as powerfully as He speaks through beginnings. He speaks through silence just as deeply as He speaks through miracles. Because when God goes before you, even the no becomes a part of the straight path. And here is the truth your heart needs to hold tightly. You are closer to alignment than you realize. This is why your battles intensified, why the pressure rose, why the enemy fought harder. Because straight paths lead to promised places, and promised places threaten the kingdom of darkness. You're stepping into territory that was always yours, but the enemy hoped you would never reach. He tried to twist your path so you would be too discouraged to continue. He tried to distort your perspective so you would believe God wasn't with you. He tried to drain your strength so you would collapse before the breakthrough, but here you are, still standing, still believing, still walking, and now the path ahead is shifting, not slowly but decisively. You can almost feel the weight lifting from your chest, the clarity forming in your mind, the confidence settling in your spirit, because the God who goes before you is completing what He began. Soon, you will walk into moments that feel too perfectly aligned to be coincidence. You will see doors open without effort, conversations flow without resistance, opportunities appear without strain, and you will know, beyond all doubt, this is the place God prepared before I arrived. The journey is reaching its revelation. When you're ready, we move to the final topic. There comes a moment, a sacred, defining moment, when everything you've walked through begins to make sense. Not because life suddenly became simple, Not because every question was answered, not because every wound disappeared, but because the presence of God becomes unmistakable. You feel it like a quiet flame inside your chest, a clarity that rises without warning, a peace that doesn't match your circumstances, a strength that feels borrowed from heaven itself. This is the moment when you realize God didn't just go before you, He stayed with you. He didn't just straighten the path, He walked it beside you. He didn't just prepare the future, He preserved your heart in the process. Every tear you cried, every night you felt alone, every prayer whispered in exhaustion, every step you took when you had nothing left inside you, none of it was wasted. Not one moment, not one breath, not one battle. Because the crooked places taught you how to trust Him, the delays taught you how to wait for Him, the losses taught you how to lean on Him, the silence taught you how to hear Him, and the moments when you felt abandoned taught you that He was holding you even when you couldn't feel it. This is what divine preparation looks like. And now, you're entering the part of your story where the straight path begins to reveal itself. Not with noise and not with chaos and not with dramatic announcements, but with alignment, with ease, with clarity, with the quiet certainty that what is unfolding is not human, it is holy. You will walk into rooms where you feel peace before you understand why. You will meet people who feel like they were placed in your life by God's own hand. You will receive answers that come without striving. You will witness doors open that no human effort could have unlocked. And you will know, this is what happens when God goes before me. But there is something even deeper, something your spirit has been sensing but couldn't yet articulate. God has not only straightened the path, He has straightened you. You're not the same person who started this journey. You see differently, you walk differently, you trust differently, you pray differently. Your faith is no longer fragile, it is fortified. Your spirit is no longer fractured, it is focused. Your heart is no longer wandering, it is anchored. And because of this, you are ready. Ready to step into the opportunities God has aligned for you. Ready to embrace the relationships He designed for this season. Ready to walk with a confidence that doesn't come from understanding the road, but from knowing the one who prepared it. The enemy tried to bend your path, but God straightened your destiny. The enemy tried to confuse your steps, but God secured your future. The enemy tried to wear you down, but God strengthened your foundation. And now, like a soldier standing at the threshold of victory, you are positioned for what comes next. So breathe, lift your head, steady your heart, because the same God who went ahead of you is now inviting you to step forward. Not in fear, not in doubt, but in faith. The crooked places are behind you. The straight path is before you, and the God who prepared it is walking with you into the future He has already shaped. What comes next is not coincidence, and it is calling. Not chance, but purpose, not random, but written. You are stepping into a future already touched by the hands of God. And this is where victory begins. Lord, in this moment, I lift up the heart of this person watching. You know their road, you know their fears, you know the unanswered questions that kept them awake at night, and you know the weight they've been carrying in silence. Father, I ask you now, go before them, step into their tomorrow, straighten every crooked place that has confused them, remove every obstacle the enemy tried to build in their path, cancel every assignment of fear, every whisper of doubt, every shadow that tried to make them believe they were alone. Lord, release clarity where there has been confusion, release peace where anxiety tried to take control, release strength where exhaustion has been pulling them down. Let your presence fill the room right now, like a warm light settling on their shoulders, like a gentle hand lifting their chin, like a voice whispering, "You are not walking alone." I declare in the name of Jesus, the path ahead of you is being made straight. What was bent is being aligned. What was hidden is being revealed. What was blocked is being opened. And what was delayed is now being released. Lord, let every step they take from this moment forward be guided by your wisdom. Let your protection surround them. Let your favor follow them. Let your purpose rise inside them with new fire, new faith, new courage. And Father, walk with them, not just before them, but beside them. Let them feel your nearness, your strength, and your love. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Stay in this presence, because God is not done. The next breakthrough is closer than you think.